Hey everybody, I'm Lori Ballen with BallenBrands.com and with Lori Ballen Team Real Estate here in Las Vegas. And today I'm going to show you on-page SEO. So what types of things do we need to do on our websites to increase the possibility of ranking on the search engines? So if you hop on over to LoriBallen.com, I do have a complete blog and information step by step on how to do this. So here's a quick example of what I'm going to show you guys how to do. So here's a blog post that we have, and obviously I've already done my keyword research. Some people do keyword research now and some people don't. I like to do keyword research still so that I can look at competition levels, so that I can look at even cost per click value. I want to know how much people are spending on that keyword so I can kind of get an idea for how valuable people are putting money on it, believe that keyword is. Obviously, I'm going to cover a topic, not a keyword, but I will do that research first. And then I also get all of my paragraph headings by doing a lot of that research. And I dig up semantically related keywords, and people also ask on Google and other ideas for creating a super comprehensive, in-depth blog post. So we're not going to cover that on today's video. I have lots of other videos on that. And if you want to take a look at my training system, theballenmethod.com or ranklikeaboss.com, if you like that one better, you can check out my training system on how to learn this. The Ballen method is anybody can take it and learn it. It does have a real estate focus because that's the niche that I was training within, but it still applies to anybody. All right, so what you're going to notice here is I break up the big chunky text, and I start off by doing that with a tweet this. So if somebody were actually to click here, it tweets and it shares the information, it shares the article. That's not an on-page search engine optimization strategy as much as it is a social engine optimization strategy. And so I'm always, when I'm building these, I'm focused on the search engines, Google primarily, and I'm focused on the social engines and social traffic and social search. So you're going to see that mine are married very much so, okay? And I believe there's going to come a day where search isn't going to exist the way it does today. It's going to be so much more driven by social and paid, social and paid. All right, so here we have, I do have some best practices, which is one, the title tag, okay? So let me go over here and just click on a new post, like we're going to create a new post for the first time. And I'm going to move through this pretty quickly because I have a lot of information to get into this video. And you can stop and pause and watch it over again if I move too fast, okay? So the first thing you have here is your title. Now, I am in WordPress. And I'm gonna use WordPress, and I'm gonna refer to some things that might be WordPress terms just so that you know, because that's what I build on. I build real estate websites for my clients. We build on WordPress, so obviously that's kind of part of my lingo there. But first you have a title. Now this title, depending on what website you're using, what platform you're using, that title will often become the title tag that is used by the search engines. So whatever I type in here shows up on the SERP. Okay, it's not always the case, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But here, if we were to go to Google and we were to type in, this is one of the examples I was using today, how to feed a dog. All right, I'm choosing this one because I don't have a dog. I'm not affiliated with dogs. I get no money for talking about dogs, so it works. So I love this, and this page also has everything I want on it. It has the featured rich snippet up at the top, and that zero position. It's got the people also ask box. It's got websites with site links. I like this page as an example. All right, so look at what we have here. See these? This here is these little short information about your website is a snippet. Okay. We're on, right now, what you typed in here, this keyword phrase is called a query. That search term, that set of keywords is called a query. And the page we're on is called a search engine results page, or a SERP. Okay? So the visitor types in a query, they land on the SERP, search engine results page, and they view snippets. All right, there's a little bit of vocabulary for you, okay? Now, in these snippets, now, as of late, there are a lot of changes, and you can make your snippet stand out all kinds of ways. So I want to make sure today when I'm covering your on-page SEO that I'm covering things that can also help benefit improving your snippet, even if they're not a direct search engine ranking factor. Some of these things may not help you rank in a higher position. They might help enhance your featured snippet, which can increase your click-through rate, which can also be a quality signal, which then indirectly can also benefit you on the search engines as far as rankings go. Okay, so stay with me and we'll go through all of that. So let's take a look at what we have here. This first item here, this is your title. Okay, so as you can see here, I said this is your title. 90% of the time is going to show up the way you typed it in here. But let me show you some of the changes. At the bottom here, I've got a couple plugins. And WordPress has these great plugins that add to the functionality of the website. They do specific things. Well, one of these is called Yoast, WordPress SEO, Yoast plugin. And I've never used the Yoast plugin for optimizing for SEO, like measuring the keywords and checking where to put things, because I know how to do that. In fact, I thought for a while Yoast seemed a little behind on some of the things that we were doing. Lately, they've really done some cool stuff that they've brought a lot of value to those of us that want to use the tool. So I did begin using the tool for a couple of things, and there's things that I like on it, like the orphaned content. I really love the cornerstone content feature. The ability to do redirects, and that solves a lot of my clients that are building, people I'm teaching how to build their websites, solves a lot of their 404 broken page issues. So there's a lot of things I like about it, but the green dots is not one of them for me personally. It's just not something that I think is for learners. It might be a great best practice, and so I know some people that just love those dots. All right. So Yoast is going to can change that title. So here, so remember up here I have wherever I type in here shows up on the SERP. Then down here, look what I have. Whatever I type in here shows up on the SERP. And there's one of those little pipes. I guess I don't need the dash and a pipe, do I? Little dash and a pipe, LoriBallen.com 2017. So my templates, this is another thing I like about Yoast. My meta templates in Yoast are adding this little extension. What I love about that is what we know is numbers, dates, brackets. There's certain things that if you put them in your title tag, they increase the click-through rate from the search engine to your page. And I also love to include the year when it's an informational article, because people search by year. They want freshness. They want to see something that is current and relevant in many cases, not all the time, but in many cases. So what I can do is on my Yoast template, SEO, my meta templates, when January gets here, I just go in and click one button and change that to 2018, and every one of my pages is going to change. So there's some benefit to doing that, to adding those little extensions on there. All right, so if you have Yoast set here and you change something here, that's going to override the title at the top. But where this title still applies is if somebody's on your website, they're on the front end of your website, let's just say, and they go to your search bar. Oh, my internet at home here is slow as molasses today. All right, so, but it never goes down, so that's a huge bonus. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click this little magnifying glass. And if somebody were to type anything in here, like on page SEO, what happens is my entire website is scanned, and it scans those titles, and it scans other information, but it's looking for what information on my website might be about SEO or about on-page SEO. And we're going to take a look at that return in a second. Again, normally this is instant. We're just putt-putting today over here. So your title is going to matter as far as your content management system. If you're using a content management system, how your content there is stored, okay, and how people search. And you can also have this be what shows up on your when you share your social channels. There we go. So here's the results. See, and so the very first thing it gave us was the exact match title, how to do on-page SEO, and then it gives us other options on my website here at LoriBallen.com. on SEO. So that title does matter for how people search your website, okay? But this title tag here is going to trump up there. Now, if depending on which version you're using, Yoast also has a social side where you can, I haven't played with that for a while because I'm using Schema, but I thought this also had a way to change the social. Okay, I'll have to come back to that because I thought it did, but maybe it doesn't. Now, also, if you're using something like Schema, okay, Schema is a markup for structured data. It tells Google what data on your page that structured data that it might want to use. And structured data shows up like this. Let's go back to our how to feed a dog. Okay. It could be, so see how this website has site links right here and all these other don't. These are generally forming off of structured data like a table of contents. Let's open that page so we can look. So let your dog decide, control portions, and watch the clock. So let's see. There you go. They have a table of contents. So my experience, table of contents is one of the best ways to get those site links to show up on a SERP. However, if you're not ranking well, if you're not already in the top of page 1, you're not going to get any site links. Okay. So that's something important to notice. There's also jump links, and I don't think I see any on this page. So you'll see a jump link sometimes. Oh, I know. Here we go. Southwest Las Vegas zip codes. Okay. So here's my website here. I'm on here a couple times. So here's my zip code. These are little site links, and these were earned off of my table of contents. Okay. And then here, see where it says jump to, and it's got this little emoji and it says Southwest map. Well, it's got the emoji because I put the emoji on my page. So there's a little tip for you. And it's jumping down to the Southwest zip codes because it knows that was what I was looking for. So those are really cool little things that happen when you do a lot of things right. And one of them is first creating amazing content so that you rank well in the search engines. And if you rank well in the search engines and you've got some structured data on there and you're using your schema markup like reviews, recipes, tables, table of contents, steps in a process, articles and books and products and maps and events, there's just so much schema markup that you can do. This one here is just marked up as a blog. And so that helps in the SERPs. Okay, so that's a little bit of advanced, and I do have a whole nother video just on schema and how simple it actually is to add, but what elements you might want to think about adding to your content so that you have structured data, okay? Because most people don't even know what that is. So you can show up top here without structured data. Where were we at? Where's the dog? Up here. This is the knowledge box, the 0 position, and they're simply answering a question. And so if your content ranks really high on the search engines and it answers a question directly and Google believes you're the best answer to that question, you could earn this spot up here, which is awesome. I have some, my clients have some. It's very, very exciting. We were pretty early on discovering some of the hows of how to do this stuff. But again, the key is you have to be ranking high in the first place. You got to get your pages good and good content. I teach you how to do that, really good content. All right, so the title, you need to keep the title tag, whether you're doing that up here or down here, under 60 characters. Shorter if you're going to have an extension added or that's going to cut off. And when it cuts off, it looks like this. Let me find one on here that's cut off. See this? How much should dogs eat? Calculate how much feed your dog, ... That one's not too bad. It's really bad when it cuts it off in the middle of the sentence. And so you don't want that ... If you're getting ... here you go, this one, the dog trainer. What's the best way to feed your dog? ... quick and ... That's not good. And so you want to make sure that you have, that your title fits correctly on the SERP. Okay, so that's important. So that's going to be, I don't know, 8 to 12 words, something like that. All right. So then after the title, if you're making a blog post, you're going to want to make sure that you have it in the appropriate category if you're on WordPress. And this is especially important if your category is being used correctly, people could actually type in a keyword and your category page should show up. Like this is my category page, SEO. So if somebody typed in SEO, this would be like a category page. So everything I've ever written on SEO is showing up at this category page. That page can rank on its own. And depending on your blog post and how you set up your permalink structure, your category might also show up in your URL, which I'm going to show you slugs in a second. So let me just save the draft so we can get the permalink to show up. It might show up, so you might have your domain right here. So you might have here. I'm gonna title this. Okay, so let me skip down to this part for a second. Everything after that slash is the slug. The URL is called a permalink, and the URL is the identifying page of this blog post. So that URL is going to show up on the search engines. People are going to be able to see it. So it's important that what you type in here looks user-friendly. It is appealing. It's something people want to click on. So you don't just want to copy the full title in there. You want to be clever about it, think about it, okay, how do I make this short, easy to read, and contain my keyword maybe, because that's also an on-page SEO factor. So let's just say in my today, let me get a better example here. How to paint a house with pets. I'm going to get real specific there. So let's just say you got a house, you got pets, you don't know what to do with the pets, and you want to Google how to paint a house with pets. And so that's the article that we're writing today, okay? So my keyword is probably paint a house with pets, or it could be this whole phrase, how to paint a house with pets. So I've done my research, and I've looked up my competition, and I've looked up the cost per click value, and I've said, okay, paint a house with pets is really my goal. So here, I could put this whole thing right here in the slug, and it would look like this, paint a house with pets. That's okay. It's user-friendly. It reads well. It's a little long, and those little prepositions, are the A's and ands and whatever aren't needed, okay? So I could just do paint house pets or paint house with pets if I want it to read better. Google doesn't care. Google doesn't care about the ands and thes. It doesn't take away, it doesn't add value, it doesn't do anything, okay? My goal is how do I keep this short now and user-friendly at the same time. What you don't want in here is symbols, underscores, question marks, numbers if they don't make sense, they're not part of it. You know, you really want it to read like English. And the better your permalink structure is, the higher your click-through rate can be from the SERPs. And the higher click-through rates are from the SERPs can help you in the rankings. So it's a good idea to follow all of these best practices when doing this. Okay, it's easy to forget it because what happens with WordPress, as soon as you paste that title in there, it creates that slug for you and you forget. So you got to use it. I have a checklist for you, by the way, and I don't know if I have the link right now. I may have to put it inside the video. I have a step-by-step checklist so that you won't forget. So you go do the title and you check box. And you go to the body, the slug, and you check box. You put it in a category, you check the box. You do the body, check the box. You do the Yoast or metas, check the box. You do your schema, check the box. Featured image, optimize your image, all that, okay? So I have that. And if you actually go back over here to how to do on-page SEO, if you haven't seen this blog post yet, a lot of it's on there. Okay. Now, the body. Okay, here's what I like to do. I like to break my long form content, well actually all of my content, because nothing I write is under, 600 words would be like a blink for what I write these days, but and even 600 words is going to have several paragraphs. So typically, if I'm writing an in-depth article, a how-to article, where I'm really covering a topic in depth, it could be 10 paragraphs long. Depends on how much fits in there. So I have a real estate team here in Las Vegas, and I might be writing an article called How to Sell a House. Okay, and the paragraphs are going to be things like how to sell a house fast, how to sell a house when you're upside down, like you owe more than it's worth. How to sell a house and buy a house at the same time. How to sell a house in 10 days. How to sell a house with a boyfriend or with a girlfriend. How to sell a house during divorce. How to sell a house. I love this one. How to sell a house you don't own. I saw that on the search engine once when I was doing research. Okay, so each one of how to sell a house by pricing it right. How to sell a house by choosing the right real estate agent. How to sell a house yourself. How to sell a house out of state. You know, I'm really going to get comprehensive and dive into that topic because it's super competitive, and if I want to rank on the search engine, it's going to really have to be in depth. And so each one of those is going to be its own paragraph. Okay, now each one of those paragraphs, first thing you want to have when you start the body is you want to kind of have a little intro. Okay, so your little intro here is going to be 100 to 200 words. You know, this is what you're going to learn in this article. What kind of little intro there. And inside that intro, I'm going to include my keyword. Paint a house with pets. Naturally, I'm not going to stuff it in there. So it might say something like, you know, Fido is man's best friend, but isn't always the most convenient to have at your feet. If you are at that point where you are going to paint a house with pets, it might be best for you to consider the following. Okay, just something like that. So I got my little intro, I've got my keyword, paint a house with pets, okay? I'm going to bold that just so you can see it there for a second. Bolding is not necessary anymore. That's kind of an old school tactic. Some people will still say to do it on page SEO. I don't think it's necessary. So now, under that, I love, love, love to have a video. If it makes sense to do so, I love to have a video right there. Now, video, on page SEO, you'll see video listed there, but it isn't like Google's reading that iframe or reading that embedded video for SEO when you're embedding a video straight off YouTube that may or may not be yours. But it does increase the user experience. It increases the time on site. It increased clicks on the page. There's a lot of signals there that are very positive that have direct or indirect benefit. So you'll see on my blog post, I include, I'll make a list here. I'll do video. I'll include quotes, statistics, social embeds, like a Facebook post. I'll include reviews from Yelp, things like that when I'm writing an article. Images, of course, infographics. And these are all kind of things I tend to use at the top of the paragraph, okay, which I'm going to show you in a second. So I've got my little intro and I've probably got my video. Now, below that, what you're going to see is a table of contents. And you don't see it right now because it's going to show up in a couple minutes, and I'll show you how it does that automatically for us. My table of contents is actually created out of my H2 tags, okay? So an H2 tag, you have heading tags, and heading tags are an on-page SEO best practice, how much weight they actually, how much they weigh on the total pages. Ranking factors are debatable, still a best practice, and to me they really look good and break up the user experience. They break up the heavy tags, improving the user experience. So what you'll see here, your title is typically your H1 tag. So if I go over here and click preview, so I can show you what this looks like. We'll kind of go back and forth and looking at our preview. What happens is your title automatically is an H1 tag. So we're not going to want other H1s. We want the title to be the most important. It's got our keyword. This is what this topic is all about. So it's telling Google, it's telling the user, this is what this article is all about. But what we do want is Descriptions, we want the paragraph headings to be heading tags, but we're going to make those H2. So let me show you the difference. If I were to highlight this little word here, and I were to put heading 1, it's larger and bolder. And then if I were to do the same thing and make it H2, it's smaller. And if I were to do the same thing here and do an H3, it's smaller. And the design of this might be something like I'm doing an outline. You know, so video is the topic. I'm going to shoot this one over, and that's the next line item. And then this one is smaller. Is that a heading 3? Trust me, it is smaller. It doesn't look smaller on my page. And then that one, and it kind of looks like that. That's kind of the concept. So what's the main topic? What would be the next one under that? And does that topic have any little subtopics? Those are kind of how it works. You will see me sometimes use H3s, occasionally an H4. It's very, very rare, and I don't think I ever go beyond that. Primarily, H2s are kind of where I live, unless it makes sense to go farther than that. So we're writing how to paint a house with pets. So the first paragraph might be what to do with your pets while you paint. Okay? This is your paragraph title. And so this is going to be an H2. Then the next paragraph is going to be what kind of paint is safe for pets. By the way, I just got a cat for the first, well, he found me. I picked up a stray cat showed up at my front door. And after 3 months, I finally kept him. This was last year, so he's been with me a year now. But I don't know anything about pets. Like that's not my specialty. I'm definitely a marketing girl and a computer girl. So I don't know what kind of paint is best for pets, and I'm just kind of making up examples here. So don't laugh at me as I try to create these categories, because that's not my specialty, painting nor pets. Okay, so the third one might be when is it safe to bring my pets back home after painting? And there's a reason why we might want to shorten those titles, and I'll show you that in a second, but depends on how your website's set up. So I could set, now I'm going to make this an H2. Okay? And if we needed to make these shorter, I would do something like where to put the pets, what kind of paint, and when is it safe? Something like that. Because remember these site links I showed you? Look how short they are. Let me go back to page 1. Okay, let your dog decide, control portions, watch the clock. Now, if they're not short, look what happens. ... So you'll have to play with that a little bit, okay? So it's tough because I battle with, I want to include keywords in those H2 tags. I want those to be important, topical keywords. So if somebody were to look up what kind of paint is safe for pets, I want that heading 2 tag to emphasize that keyword as well. Not necessary. Google's going to read the whole content. It understands the content. It understands I'm talking about paint and pets. It's just a best practice. So I'll battle with, if I start ranking really high on the search engines, sometimes I'll go back and change these so that they're shorter, so I can get more optimized site links. Okay. All right. Now look what happens here under each of these paragraphs. Let's say we're writing a 1,500 word article, and this paragraph's going to be 500 word, and this paragraph's going to be 500 words. We put 500 words here, and we put 500 words here, and we put 500 words here. Let's just say, for example, okay? Now, let's preview it so you can see what those look like. Okay? Oh, maybe I need one more for my table of contents. When is it safe? Do dogs like cats? Okay, please do not use that one. I just don't want to think for a second. preview. I want you to see that table of contents. Oh, there it is. Okay. By the way, this is all in your settings. If you're using WordPress, if you're using one of my websites that I build for Ballen brands, we have instant table of contents already built in. But if you're using WordPress, you have your own WordPress already, you want to add this table of contents, I use Table of Contents Plus. It's a plugin. And if you go to my website here and go to the search bar and type in Table of Contents Plus, I have a whole page and a video on it. This is so funny. We're playing with pop-ups this morning. So I contacted my administrative team. I don't like pop-ups on the first land at all. And so we're trying a time trigger. And if they don't register for this one, but they visit another page, then this happens. And because I'm bopping around all over the place, we have lots of boxes popping up. All right, so this is cool. So this is user experience, and you can change the colors, and you can choose the width of it. There's all kinds of things you can do. You can say include H2 tags and H3 and H4, or just H2, okay? So remember, the table of contents isn't necessarily an on-page SEO ranking factor as much as it is an on-page SEO strategy that can help you get these site links, and it improves the user experience, because when you have any kind of long-form content, if that person Googled what kind of paint is safe for pets, and they landed here, they don't want to read the whole article. They want to click on exactly where they want to go, and it'll shoot them down the page, and they can go to where they want to go. So keep that stuff in mind. That's why Google's creating these jump tags. Here on the Southwest Las Vegas, see how it says jump to? Because it's assuming that person wants that particular item. They don't want to read the whole zip code page if all they're looking for is Southwest zip codes. So Google has figured out this jump to get them there quicker. Well, we should be doing the same thing. That's what these table of contents are. They help them jump to what they want. Quality user experience. If you provide great content, a quality user experience, your website is super, super relevant and on topic to whatever it is you're trying to cover, and you've got trust and authority with the search engines, and you follow these on-page best practices, you can really win in the search engines, okay? All right, another thing that I like to do here is I like to put in dividers. So I'll go to Insert Shortcode Divider, and in this case, I'm using Shortcode Ultimate on my own websites that I build for real estate agents, and now for all businesses once we launch the car platform. The dividers are actually a little content block you drag in. But for now, I'll just show you here what a content divider looks like. So once you set it up once, you put in the first one and choose the color, it'll be the same every time. So I break up my paragraphs with those dividers. So let me show you what that looks like. And if you see this on mobile, it's even better. Because what happens here, wait till I put in a bunch of stuff here and you'll see, this gives that user the ability to jump back up to the top and get back to the table of contents. Get back to whatever's up top so they don't have to scroll all the way down. So if they read one paragraph but they don't want to read the next paragraph, you don't want them bouncing off of your website and not sticking around. You want them staying a while. So these go to top, bring them back up to that table of contents or to the search widget or whatever you have up top that is a value add, and we tend to put things up top for them, so it's a good practice. And you can change the words, you can change the colors, you can make them dashed. There's all kinds of fun things you can do with this. Okay. All right. Another thing I like to do on each one of these, I'm going to put an image. I'm going to put a quote. I'm going to put a stat. I'm going to mix this up. Okay. So let's just say I'm going to do an image. So I'm going to go to Add Media. And I'm going to grab this one right here, okay? Now, here's what's important about on-page SEO. Your title. If you can include the title of, if the keyword makes sense to include in this title, then use it. Now, for example, this guy, I'm a little clever about this, not spammy, clever. This guy is kicking back, he's got his shoes up, he's looking at the mountains, okay? What I could put here, title here is, man rests outdoors with dog after painting house. course, there's no dog in there, is there? Okay, so maybe just after, so then I can get at least part of the keyword in there, painting a house, okay? Man is resting with mountain views after painting a house. And he could have been, he's got work boots on. He could have painted a house and walked right up that mountain, couldn't he have? Okay, now alt text, also caption. So your little caption could be something here like, you know, this picture is of such and such mountain, which gets such and such snowfall per year. If that makes sense, and if it makes sense to include your keyword, then do so. But it has to be natural. It needs to be natural. It needs to flow off the tongue. If somebody were looking at that, they wouldn't go, oh my gosh, that is ridiculous. It's got to be natural, okay? If it's not natural, I won't change it. I won't put it in there at all. Okay, so you can put the little caption in there if you want to use captions. And then alt text is how you describe the image if somebody can't see it. Somebody cannot see this image. So here's what I put. Someone is relaxing with their feet showing in hiking boots with majestic views of the mountains, water, and grassy hills. Now, if I called that painting a house with pets, that's like the most spammy thing on the planet. There's nothing about that description where I can include the word painting a house with pets. So if it's natural, now of course I'm gonna, if I was really going to get an image right now, I'd go find an image that has somebody painting a house with pets so that I can use the keyword in it. You know, you just got to be clever with what pictures you're choosing. One thing I'll do a lot for my SEO blogs and my blogging tutorials and whatnot, I use these computer screens. And what I can do here is say blank computer screen with red coffee mug with Ballen logo. Screen displays the word short codes ultimate, and that's my keyword. So now I'm able to get that keyword in there because it's natural and actually is part of the picture. Okay, so those are very important about your on-page SEO if you're going to be including images. Okay, oh, let's just go ahead and pop one in there just so that we can see what this looks like. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is put a quote. So what I do is I go over here and I'll do quotes about dogs or painting or whatever's relevant. Okay, and I'll find a quote that I like. A dog is the only thing on earth that loves you more than he loves himself. That's fantastic. Who said it? I don't know. There's nobody there. You can say any foolish thing to a dog and the dog will give you a look. Says, wow, you're right. Okay, so let me take that. Ugh. Find a website you like that you don't mind linking back to, or don't use a link. Look up a quote in another way. So like, for example, see how this is highlighted? It's going to link back to whatever that page is. What I usually do is I'll open that little pencil, open the widget, and check open in a new tab. That way, if they're leaving my page and they're going somewhere else, it opens in a new tab. So if I'm using a website where I need to give credit because I took content off that credit, I'll leave the link in there, and then I'll have it open off a new tab. And then you have your 500 words, and then you have your related article, okay? And then this one is a stat. So I'll go over here. How many people own dogs? Okay, 40% of Americans own a dog and 29% own a cat. I did not know that. Interesting. How old is that article? I don't know, it's not dated. 6 in 10 Americans own some type of pet. Wow. 40%. Okay, so I love this. So I'm going to take this, and this is going to be like a stat or quote, and I'm going to give credit back to the website, of course. Never take more than like a quote or a snippet or something that you're gonna link back to and give them credit. And so here I'm going to do stat, and this one, let me do it like this one. I'm going to put the stat in here so it adds color. Okay, and on this one I'll do italics and bold. And then the next one I'm going to do a Facebook post. So I'll go over to Facebook and I'll type in something like dog. Let me just put in dog and see what comes up first. Okay, so I'm looking for a business page that has some information about dogs that would be value for that. Okay, so videos. People love these kind of things. Dog refuses to stop talking. Okay, so somebody who's reading this blog post might find value in that. So let's just pretend we're going to use this. So what I do is I go up here to this date, click on that little date. It'll open the business page. And then you can click on these little dot, 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 and go down to embed. Take the code, go back to your website, click on text, and find wherever you want to put it. We were in the do dogs like cats section. Now the good news is once you put this in here, if it's in the wrong spot, you go back to the visual editor and you can actually just cut it and paste it anywhere you want to put it. Okay, so don't panic if it's not in the right spot on the other side. Sometimes it's easier to stick that right on top in the text section and then just move it once you're on the other page. That's fine too. Okay, so then that's there on that side, and then the next paragraph I would do, I would embed a video. And if you don't know this, well, you can actually go over to YouTube and you can type in, oh, let's do this one for the top. We didn't put a video up top. And you could type in how to paint a house with pets. The first thing I always do is try to find an exact match video. Okay. Do it yourself, pet safe glue and paint. That might be a good one. You know, something that people would find interested that's appropriate. Okay, so let's pretend we're going to use this one. So let's click on that. I would watch a little bit of the video and I would see if that video fits. I'm going to make sure it's nobody that competes against me for the same product or service. And if I decide I want to use it, I look over here at the share button and I click share. And then I go down to embed. Now, if they have the embed option on, they have given you permission to use this on your website. You cannot, sorry, I had to take a drink there. You cannot change it or put anything over on top of it, but you can use it as is. So I usually uncheck to show related articles, and I uncheck to show the title. It's not necessary on there. And then I just take the iframe, go back over to your blog, and we'll go back to the top. And again, you can put it anywhere and drag and drop it, but in our case, I remember it was right, we'll put it right here. Ah, no, keep that there. Underneath that, okay? Paste it there. And to make the correct width, you can either choose that, you can change the dimensions here, or you can just delete this little hack here. You can delete what's in the quotes, width and height, and just put 100%. Okay? And then let me show you this, what happens here. Let's look at our preview. See how the video is the right size now? Okay, so there's the video, table of contents, image, description, quote, statistic, Facebook post, dividers. So you see all of these things that are increasing the user experience or adding to the user experience, okay? So even though those embeds are not direct ranking signals, they improve the user experience. That's going to increase your time on site. It's going to increase your subscribers and your stickiness to your website. People are going to like your stuff a whole lot better, especially on mobile. And those things are going to be indirect signals. But your direct signals are going to be your title, your URL, that's slug, including your keyword, strategically but not stuffing, only where it makes sense. And then another on-page signal is going to be semantically related keywords. So what happens is Google looks for, if somebody's covering a topic, how to paint with pets, we believe that page should also have keywords like paint thinner, floor mats, brushes, and it believes that because it looks at the other pages ranking on page 1 and they also have this keyword, they would expect you to have this keyword. If you're diving in deep about a topic, you've probably also said paint in other ways, and you've talked about painting a room in other ways, and I haven't said paint the house with pets 900 times. I've used these other related topics, or I've said it in other ways. You know, like let's say my blog post was about steak. Well, in the first paragraph, I might say steak. In the second one, I might say sirloin. In the third one, I might say meat. And in the fourth one, I might say beef. And then if somebody were writing an in-depth topic on steak, you would expect all of those words to be mentioned. And grill, sauce, rare, well done, blah, blah, blah. Now, there's a really cool tool here. This is my favorite tool. And I would love it if you'd use my link, and how you get there is if you actually go to lauriestools.com. All of the software that I use all the time and talk about are right here at your fingertips, and some of them I get a little bit, you know, coupon or discounted product or a check sometimes if they have an affiliate program, sometimes nothing. But I put them all here for you, and nobody ever pays me to talk about a product I don't use. I have to use it. But SEMrush I do have an affiliate link with, and it does benefit me. So, but I use the tool because I love it, not because of that. So go to lauriestools.com, click on SEMrush, and sign up for the free trial. Okay. Now watch this. We go to Dashboard. We go to the left, and we click on Seo Content Template. Now here we have this great tool here. We could type in our keyword, paint a house with pets. That's our keyword phrase. And then we could say, show me national rankings, show me local rankings. So let's say I want to rank nationally for paint a house with pets. So then I am going to get rid of the state. All right, so we're going to go just United States. No state, no city, and only English. And let's see how compared on a phone. And then we're going to click Create SEO Template. Now, what it's doing right now is it's scouring the web, and it's looking at page 1 to see who else ranks on the search engines. Now, there's no competition hardly at all for this phrase, okay, for that title. Nobody has hardly written a house on how to paint a house with pets. Or written a blog. That really amazes me. You would think painters or pet owners or even real estate agents would write something. So this is wide open. So if there was any benefit to go paint a house with pets, you could just, how do I know it's wide open? Because there's not a list of competitors here. The recommended text length is only 500 words, which is hardly any. There's hardly any data on that keyword. Now watch if we were to let's go back and just do paint a house. So you can see what it looks like if you're doing a competitive keyword. If it's not competitive, do what you want. Just go. Just, you know, I still use a basic format like I just showed you, but I'm just going to go and not worry about it. But if it's super competitive, I'm going to come over here and look at some of those semantically related keywords, okay? Okay, what is wrong? Hold on. Let me just refresh that for a second. How to paint a house. Did I do something funny here? Oh, it's still pulling up Nevada. Okay. Now is it only pulling up United States? There we go. Now it should work. Okay, one of those days where everything's just running a little bit slower than usual. All right, so here we go. So it's showing you your top rivals. So there are 10. It'll pull up the top page 1 ranking pages. So if you go over to Google and you type in how to paint a house, these are going to show up in the top 10 positions on average, okay? So here's the semantically related keywords. If you're writing a house about painting you're writing a blog about painting a house, they would expect to see these words: home improvement, prep work, paint job, pressure washer, paint removed, paint sprayers, fresh coats, siding and trim, start at the top, paint. Okay, so why do they think your blog should have that? Because the other ones do. Because there's an average aggregate of those semantically related keywords that they believe if you're covering it in depth, you're mentioning the word drop clause. So I'm going to go make sure that I'm using these naturally, and then I've covered that. This has been so helpful to me a lot of times when I go to write a blog, especially if we're writing a blog that we're researching and doing for a client. We may not know as much about their content. For my marketing company, ballenbrands.com, I'd have to go over there and look at some of the semantically related keywords. And then it tells you where you might want to try to get backlinks from when you do your outreach, okay? And here's your recommended text link. So it's saying, you know, if you're really diving in deep with how to paint a house, your blog's at least 900 words long. It's not saying literally that you need to sit and count your word count and be 912. That's going to help you rank. What it's saying is these aggregate 10 average 912. So that's how deep they've covered it. If you want to outrank them, you have to think about how can you do better? How can you go dive in deeper? What else can you provide a user that they haven't? And generally speaking, that means you're going to include a couple more in-depth paragraphs. And so you might double that. You might be 1,500 words, 2,000 words, 3,000 words. It all depends on, you know, what you're doing. But here, look at this, video content. Your top 10 rivals are using video. So we've already done that, right? Well, actually, yeah, we did. So if this were just how to paint a house, I'd go find like one of those home improvement videos on how to paint a house, you know, or the Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever the corner hardware store is there that's done a national video. Okay. On-page SEO also is so your title, meta title, and your meta description. So your meta description is down here. If you have your Yoast plugin, go down here to where it says meta description. Meta description is this on your Google search. Oh, we lost our Google search. How to feed a dog. Down here, see this text here underneath the title, underneath the slug, above anything else. This here is your meta description. This here is your meta description. This here is your meta description. Okay? Now, although it's a best practice to include your keyword in the meta description, it's not necessary, but Google will put it in bold if it is what you're searching. So that could increase your click-through rate. It could make that consumer click on your website over somebody else's. So that's why it's a best practice. It's not that it helps you rank on the search engines necessarily any higher because they're in there. You know, it's best practice. But you'll see some without any. Or derivatives, other versions of. Dog feeding. I said how to feed a dog. Dog feeding. Okay, so maybe that's going to go up there. So best practice so that it makes it bold. Also, your meta description should not, oh, now I forgot the number of characters. 100 and, darn it, 100 and something. You want this to... Let's say how to paint a house with pets. Let's take that top portion of our intro there and paste that in to the meta description. Okay, see how it's green? That means you're in the right number of characters, and you can go a little bit further. So now I might have a call to action. Get your free guide. And then I might have one of these little doodads, instant, let's see if it fits, instant download. Doodads is not a technical term. Okay. Let's get rid of get your free guide, something like that. Free guide, instant download. So I'm making an offer, call to action. I'm including those brackets. I'm looking to increase that click-through. That's still, we want to make sure our meta description is done correctly, okay? And then your other on-page is your schema, and your images are also on page. They do have some relevance, especially for ranking on Google Images. If you've optimized your image title and that alt attribute that I showed you, the alternative text, that is an on-page SEO signal directly. And your schema is going to be one of those things again where you're telling Google what this is about. So what's the schema item name, the schema description. So you see it's taking the same title from Yoast. That's fine. The meta from Yoast. It will take the meta from Yoast once I hit draft. And then schema item type. Well, look at this. Look at all. Auto repair, auto body, cafe, car, casino, cemetery. You know, you want to make sure that if you're marking up with schema and you're telling Google, hey, I have structured data on this page of some sort, you know, I've got a blog post here I'd like you to look at, make sure it's the correct thing. If you're doing a review, make sure you're on a review page where somebody actually left a review and the markup is about you, the company, as a review. If you're selling products, your markup is for that product. People are reviewing that product you sell. Okay? You can't just put all your review markup on all products, and that's going to be spammy, and it's not going to work for you. Okay? So that is the other thing on there. So that is really what I wanted to cover today for the bulk of your on-page SEO. And as a bonus there, I also gave you some tips on increasing the user experience, which, as we said, can have an indirect effect also on your ranking factor. So if you need a website, real estate website or a traditional website, any other business, check us out at ballenbrands.com. And LoriBallen.com is where I have those tutorials on step-by-step. Check out YouTube. If you're on here watching on YouTube now, that's great. If you're not, YouTube is youtube.com/LoriBallen. And if you happen to have know anybody who wants to buy or sell real estate in Las Vegas, I have a real estate team, and it is Lori Ballen Team, and you can check us out at ballenvegas.com. We would appreciate your referral very much, and I continue to teach and share everything I know with all of you guys. So thank you so much for joining me today, and subscribe to the channel. Get lots more like this. Thank you so much.